Welcome back to the show. You're watching Bella with me, Elaine Daly, and Lisa Wong. Now, Lisa, I've got a question to ask you. Are you a fan of junk food? Were you a fan of junk food as a kid?
No, actually, I think my parents raised us pretty well because we were never, really exposed that much to junk food.
Are you serious? You could be joking. You mean you never like bought from your school canteen?
No,
like,
I have.
Junk food?
It's just not very much.
Your roti man didn't come by past the house and you say,
tempted.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we've all been exposed to it.
We all have been, but I think it's not a big part of our diet. I think it's because our parents they really stress on healthy, just raw food.
Wow.
Yeah, just raw food. Lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. So I think in that way, it didn't mold us to think about junk food as a snack all the time.
Well, I did. I loved my junk food.
And how did you turn out like this?
No, I'm not a very good. I mean, well, actually, I've just spoken to a nutritionist recently, and she said it doesn't matter how you look, but actually, it's what is inside that matters. You can be very super skinny or like really big, but you never really know. But we do have an expert to talk to us today about nutrition and the health of your kids and what your kids are putting in their bellies. So we'd like to say a very good afternoon to Wong Eugene, nutritionist and wellness coach. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, welcome to Bella.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. Now with school holidays coming up, even the diet goes on a holiday because then a lot of
for most people.
Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, I'm on holiday or it's the weekend, I can indulge. But before we get into the topic of nutrition for children per se, a lot of people out there, and even I'm a bit confused as to what does a nutritionist do. I mean, is he like a food doctor, or maybe you can explain that to us?
A lot of people ask me this question too because there's so many diet books out there, and they say they can just pick up a diet book, read through the book and lose weight. But I say it's very important to customize the program to your lifestyle. So I think what a good nutritionist does is that I look at everything within your life. It's just not about diets, it's holistic. Okay. So whether we can incorporate this kind of food into your life, exercise, taking account into the social pressures, the cultures and so on. So that way you can have a program which you can maintain for a long time. So it's just not picking something out from the internet or from the book. It's something that's structured around your life.
Right, and I like the way you say holistic because it means like you go as natural as can be.
Yes, I mean, of course, as a nutritionist, what we try to teach people is to go for things which are already available in our lives.
It's not difficult to find.
It is not. It is not. You just have to open your eyes a little bit. That's all.
Okay.
Now, junk food and kids, especially during the school holidays, junk food has got tasty seasonings. It's very tempting.
Yummy.
How do you? Well, with obesity being a major concern among school-going children these days, why are kids so drawn to junk food, you think?
I think definitely media advertising has something to do with that.
Yeah, of course. You see one gasing ajaib there coming out of your packet of something, of course you'll be
It's everywhere. But I think one of the major problems is that parents are not really educating their kids enough. They are just letting them go, letting them choose whatever food they want to have.
Sure.
It's impossible, I would say, to control the food of the children. So what is more important is the education. Like Lisa, you were saying that your parents educated you from a very young age. I think that's what's lacking. Most of the parents are just not, they themselves don't really know what's really unhealthy or healthy.
Yeah.
So they should get educated first and then teach their children a little more. I mean, that's a very important point.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of them, I mean, a lot of parents are career people. They're very busy,
that's
and they don't really know. They're like, okay, as long as I keep my kid happy or whatever, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But that's not the wisest or healthiest decision to make.
Definitely not. And also, a lot of the parents, they want their kids to be healthy, but they themselves are not really practicing it.
Yes.
So you can't be telling your child to eat more fruits and vegetables where you're pigging out.
Sure.
Because they look upon you as a role model.
Exactly.
Now, I did some research online. It says junk food is not just food that contain very little nutritional value. For example, salted crisps, candy, sweets, fried fast food. It's also high sugar cereals.
Yes, high sugar cereals as well. Some of them can be even equivalent to junk food. they say that even if it's made with whole grains and things like that, but the amount of sugar in there, it's really damaging to the child. So you have to be quite careful about packaging and colorful advertising.
So as we said just now to Dr. Koo, we always need to read our nutrition labels.
Yes, exactly. And some of these food, junk food, I would like to emphasize, not only are they empty calories, void of all the nutrients that you need, but they are also anti-nutrients, meaning that by consuming all these artificial flavors and so on, you're actually making your body more difficult for your body to absorb the good nutrients that you eat from other food. So because of all the sodium and all the colorings and so on.
So what would you say, I mean, maybe you could give us an example of a nutritious meal for kids between 7 to 13 per se?
I think for kids, most of the main meals are okay, but the ones that we should be looking out for would be the snacks.
So what are the healthy snacks kids can eat, which are also quite attractive looking?
They love to be appeal, they love to be stunning.
One thing that that appeals to kids are colors, right? So when you make a snack, you want to make it really colorful, and a good array of really fresh vegetables, but make them into like different kinds of shapes and different kinds of colors. So cut them into, like, you can make even from a cucumber, you can make them into stars and so on.
Just to make it exciting.
Just to make it exciting. And while you are doing that, you can also get them engaged into the process, like making the shapes and helping out and so on, and mashing up the tomato puree and things like that. So while they are involved in the whole thing, you can educate them. There is no real point to teach children just like a classroom style. So while they are doing it, then you can say, oh, do you know that this is really healthy for you?
To involve them, basically.
Yes, that's where the education is, in the kitchen.
So what happens when kids are so anti-vegetables, especially broccoli? Well, I love broccoli, but I know I've got like nephews and nieces who are like so anti-broccoli.
Okay.
Why don't they like vegetables? That's my question.
I don't know. I think maybe it's the way parents used to cook it. It can be quite bland.
Or it's probably the forcing factor. You must eat your vegetables. You must eat your vegetables. You know.
But I will think that some parents, they focus on only certain types of vegetables, like Chinese people, they like to focus on the leafy types, leafy type of vegetables. So if they don't like those, maybe you can try to vary it a bit with some of the crunchy types, like capsicum, like cucumbers and so on. So if you try different kinds of style of cooking and different styles of presenting it, and sometimes even raw, you'll find that your child might prefer a certain type. So start with those, and after a while try to expand their repertoire of vegetables. And never try to force them. You know, you force kids, they will not want to eat even more.
So you're saying that even if they're not consuming even like 25% of vegetables in a meal, to not force them to take it? Not force them,
as long as they're eating a little bit, that's fine.
To incorporate it into their meals.
To hide it.
You can also hide it in the soups and so on. Kids quite like soup. And if you cut them into little chunks or little pieces, they can quite easily like it.
Yeah, I remember liking the alphabet soup when I was a kid, and they had vegetables in it, you know?
Exactly.
Parents have to be creative with you.
Exactly. It takes a little bit of effort. But you know, it appeals to the child.
Right. Now, when they go to schools, I mean, one of our last few questions before we end the interview. When they go to schools, especially, they're given pocket money to go to the canteens to buy food, and of course they will buy the junk food. What can our government or the schools do to help curb this? Like the Jamie Oliver style.
Yeah, I think there was one stage where the government's trying to ban all kinds of junk food.
Yes.
I think that
it is actually in immediate effect at the moment.
It's still in effect, yeah. But I don't think that really works. What is more important is they should emphasize on teaching the kids about the values of good food and bad food. Educating them. And failing that, you should educate the parents instead. So the parents themselves are not, they don't even know what's the difference between like French fries, potato chips, or good boiled potatoes.
Right.
How much fat is there and so on.
Because I think it's a lot of in parents' minds, like, okay, as long as my child is well fed, so give you a lot of rice and carbs and all that, just to make sure you got the energy.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
Yes.
For me, I think it's very important for the parent to really take charge and put a little bit more effort. Most of them are not putting enough effort in teaching the child. So if you put a little bit more effort, make it a little bit more fun, get involved in your child's nutrition, it can be really actually very educational and also a bonding experience between the two.
Yes.
Very inspiring.
Well, thank you so much, Eugene, for stopping by. I think today's parents are definitely more challenged. They have to be creative when it comes to meal times.
Especially when it comes to today's lifestyle, you know, the food intake is very
fast-paced lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes, everything is instant and quick, but it can't be the way all the time
So
now.
if we want to, if people out there would like to contact you and say, oh, I'm looking for a nutritionist, how do they find you? Do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website. It's www.wongyujin.com. It's WONGYUJIN.
Okay, which is on your screen.
Yes.
Okay.
So they can view my website. I've got a lot of tips there. I've got a blog which I always update stuff. So even the questions you ask me, if I do remember, I'll just put it up.
So do you have recipes as well to help parents?
Yes,
oh,
I
fantastic.
do. I love quick meals.
Yeah.
Easy to prepare, but very nutritious.
Maybe feature restaurants that serve healthy diets.
Yeah. Take away healthy food.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Hard to find. Anyway, thank you so much for being in the show.
Once again, thanks for having me.
I have a great Sunday ahead.
You too.
Yeah.